Bill Henshaw here again, Constitutional Crisis Channel, and a couple of events in the recent news that you might be interested to know. The first of them involves a woman that was in Texas who was convicted and sent to jail for 5 years for illegal voting. Now I saw that in my... Well, you get to this stage I've got to, and you look at it and say, well, wait a minute. And I sent a letter to our recorder here and the Secretary of State. In fact, if you want a copy of the letter, you can use it yourself. Send me an email, ccaspari@live.com. You can send the same letter yourself and gently remind them that there are no such things as elections in this day and age. There's not anything even close. So my point here is, this woman got convicted and sentenced to jail for 5 years. You could do the same thing to everyone who's voted in any election for the last, God knows, 80 years and probably a lot longer than that, because there are no elections. A subject matter for another day, but trust me, as astounding as that seems, I can prove it. Basically because if you sign up the voter registration form, you have to declare under penalty of perjury that you owe your citizenship to Section 1 of the 14th War Amendment. That's a hell of a video lesson for another day, because I can prove the 14th War Amendment doesn't exist. And we go from there. It's absolutely amazing. So who knows, I might actually try to do a writ of habeas corpus for this poor devil in Texas and see if I can't get her out of the clink down there. The other one, in its own way, is even more astounding. Justice John Paul Stevens, and for those of you who don't know, he was on the court from 1976 until about 2005, almost 30 years. He was the replacement for Justice William O. Douglas, who himself had been on the court for 36 years. Another story for another day. One of my top 10 justices, and he's in the top 10 of most people's all-time list too, as is Hugo L. Black. Okay, that said, Stevens, who ought to know better than this, actually came out in the wake of the shooting in Florida that I discussed in an earlier video, actually came out and advocated the repeal of the Second Amendment. Just as though the Second Amendment has anything to do with gun control. It doesn't. Damn, the Supreme Court said 130 years ago, Presser v. Illinois, it's not relevant here. The Bill of Rights does not apply to the states. It may to the federal government, and if the Second Amendment is applicable in cases like what Stevens is suggesting, what he's really saying, and he may damn well know this as well as I do, is there are no states. All we have are federal territories in which the Second Amendment would apply. I would love to know the answer to that question. That's the only way it makes any sense to me. So he's off base, the NRA is off base. It's about time for you people there to get off your high horse and make some real arguments with gun control. For example, like taking a property without judicial process. That's a bill of attainder. You all ever heard of that at the NRA? It'd be nice to know that. So I read this and I said, my God. So I would love to be able to talk to him, but he's 97 years old, and probably by the time I get communication through there, he's going to be gone. And he was, by all accounts, a pretty good justice for the time he spent on the court. But not to know something this basic, or worse, actively conceal the facts from the American people. And I'm not saying that he did that, but I am saying that there are people in offices of honor, profit, and trust in government who do that sort of thing and conceal things and don't tell you when they have a constitutional duty to tell you. For example, you're not in a judicial court, and that we don't have jurisdiction unless you give it to us. This is the kind of nonsense that has to stop. And I think it's going to, because on another video I'll tell you about my developmental offensive procedures now. After going 24-0 on the defense against state bar licensed attorneys, now I've got it turned around where I believe we can make them pay for not doing their job and answering like bills of particulars that I have, that they're required to answer about the nature and cause of the accusation, elements of the crime, etc. Now I think we can do that. That said, I just wanted to leave you with these thoughts about these two recent events, and we'll follow up on both on a later video. Thank you.